Welcome! Does your AC return air filter grill look dirty, yellowed, or just in rough shape? Today I'm breaking down 3 ways to bring it back to life. First, I'll show you the fast cleaning method I use every 3 months during my filter change. Then if yours needs more help, I'll walk you through removing the grill face and giving it a deeper clean. This is something I only do every few years. And if none of that cuts it, I'll show you how a simple repaint can take your grill to go from this to this. So if you're ready to resurrect your AC return air filter grill and make it look brand new again, let's go. So my notification pops up that it's time to change the AC filters. I set a reminder on my phone so I never forget. My house has 2. One in the hallway and one in the master bedroom. In the Havoc aisle at Home Depot, you can find their branded filters. They use a filter performance rating, or FPR, which is similar but not matching the industry standard minimum efficiency reporting value, or MERV. Both are air filter rating systems, indicating how well a filter captures particles. I like to write the change date on mine just in case I forget or delete my phone reminder. And I personally use FPR 5 or 7. 5's equivalent to MERV 8. Okay, let me show you the first most common method I use every 3 months to clean my filter grill during my filter change. So what I do is I turn the AC on so that most of the dust gets sucked into the dirty filter and not on the floor. Now that might be scary for some people, but don't worry, the filter easily catches the dust particles that have accumulated on the grill louvers and won't make it to your air handler. Now what I use is a whisk brush with polyester bristles. The bristles are long enough to get into the grill slots and strong enough not to break. Okay, let's speed this up. I use a back and forth motion going up and down, making sure I get the whole filter grill. It's hard to see, but most of the loose dust is getting sucked up into the filter, not heading to the floor. Now notice that even though I swept away the loose dust, there's still some that is stuck and has discolored the grill. More on how we will tackle that in a minute. Okay, I unlock the latches and open it up so I can get the inside. Don't forget this step. There is still loose dust on this side, so I give it a sweeping once over, not forgetting the outer rim by the filter. Whatever dust from this step falls to the ground, I vacuum up. Now you don't have to clean the filter grill in place. Let me show you how easy it is to remove. Now even though mine is close to this wall, I can move it just enough to unhook one side first, then the other. Some people prefer to remove this hinge face and dust it off outside, eliminating the need to vacuum, which is smart to do. Mine usually doesn't get dusty enough to make that necessary, but because it's been a few years since I've given it a deeper cleaning, and it has stuck on dust and it's discolored, I'm going to show you the second method next. Let's bring it to the utility sink and see if we can get it looking white again. Now I start off by getting it wet. I'm using a cup to help with that. Because this dust is so attached, you need to use a good cleaner. I use Crud Cutter, which is a concentrated cleaner degreaser and has a commercial strength formula that safely and easily cuts grease, grime, oil, tar, wax, and more. I spray it on and use a scrub brush working it into the grill louver slots. I'm going to speed this up because this is pretty straightforward. So I just continue scrubbing in the same direction as the louvers so the bristles get in between. Since they are bent on an angle, you have to push the bristles in there to get everything. And then I fill up my cup and rinse it off. I can see all the dirt going down the drain. So check it out. You can see the difference between the lower part and the upper part. Now hopefully the second method gets your air filter grill looking new again. But if it's in worse condition, even showing areas that are rusted, I'm going to show you how to tackle that next. But either way, you're going to have to complete these first 2 steps of cleaning, knocking off the loose dust, then giving it a deep wash cleaning to prep it for painting anyway. Now that it's clean, you can see how the edges are missing some paint. But technically, since it's looking so white and clean, you wouldn't see that paint missing 10 feet in the air. But these vents are made out of steel, and if you leave it like that, it's going to eventually rust. If you guys are getting value out of this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to see more home DIY videos just like this one. Okay, you're seeing me finish up the deep cleaning. Hopefully you noticed I repeated cleaning each section twice just in case I missed a spot. I'm going to show you a close-up of all the imperfections next and why I decided to paint it. So I rinse it off. Let's check it out. I pull it out of the utility sink and I'm noticing a couple spots where it's still a little dirty. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know how I use baby wipes a lot. So I'm giving it a good look over, and anywhere I see it's still a little dirty, the baby wipe's getting it right off. Now see how many of these edges need painting? The deep cleaning over the years contributes to this. The edges are susceptible to the paint scratching off. Okay, next, because my utility sink doesn't have a sprayer, I bring it to the hose to give it a real good rinse. Like I mentioned earlier, some people clean it this way every filter change to knock off the dust. And of course, if you don't have a utility sink, you can just deep clean it outside too. Now I like to use my blower to blow most of the water off to dry it. I do this after I hand wash my car too. If I wasn't going to paint it, I probably wouldn't have given it the hose second rinse, but I just didn't want to miss anything. Okay, next I set up one towel on my work table and use another towel to dry it off. I think it's a good time to mention, if yours is really rusty and in poor shape, you would want to give it a good sanding as part of your prep before painting. Some people also like to use steel wool to scuff up the paint. Now I chose to put a little painter's tape on the latches. This is an area you can't really see once installed, and the paint scratches off anyway, so I didn't want to add any more paint to this area, possibly making it harder to operate the latch. But if yours is in poor condition, you can skip this step and just go ahead and paint them too. Let me show you next how I set up my portable work table outside for painting. I put a milk crate on top of it and then a piece of cardboard, and then of course the air filter grill on top of that. Now I'm using an oil-based spray paint, which is better for tough high gloss applications that need to block stains versus water-based paint. And it has a dial that you can set between 5 different spray settings. I started on number 2, which is the standard spray pattern. I next go ahead and shake the can to mix the paint and give it a spray in the air to see which way the wind's blowing so I can plan my angle of attack. I noticed quickly I wanted to lower the amount of paint coming out, so I changed the setting from 2 to 3, which is the low output setting. For my application, I was just giving it a quick touch up. I really wasn't trying to apply too much paint. Now if you went through the process of sanding out rust spots and yours was in much worse shape than mine, I would recommend just keeping it on the standard spray pattern. Now if you never spray painted something, just hold the can 8 to 12 inches from the surface and use smooth sweeping overlapping strokes while keeping the can moving. Always start and stop spraying off the object to prevent drips and apply multiple thin coats instead of one thick one. The other thing to consider if you went through the process of sanding out a lot of rust spots and yours is in bad shape, I would recommend spraying a primer on first. Even if your spray can says it's paint and primer all in one already, let the primer completely dry and then apply your paint using several thin coats. I give it my one final look over and then use the piece of cardboard to move it back into my garage for drying. I noticed something landed on it, so I used my straight pick to scrape it off before the paint dries. So here's a close-up crossing shot so you can see how it came out before I reinstall it. And here's a reminder what it looked like before we deep cleaned it. I love doing DIY home improvement projects. It keeps my house maintained and looking its best. Now I want to show you one more thing before we reinstall the face. How to paint the grill frame. You can take a piece of cardboard. I like cutting up one with a bend at one end. I then cut a rectangle hole in the other end to create a handle. Add some painter's tape around the frame. Now you can use your cardboard shield to paint the frame. The bend in the cardboard allows it to fit in tight spaces, also lowering the distance away from the frame to catch more of the overspray. Just consider laying out some plastic on your floor and walls. Now take note, this frame is also removable by unscrewing the mounting screws if you prefer to do this outside. So it's literally that easy. I'm just going to wait a few hours, make sure it's really dry. I'm going to go ahead and take lunch and I'll come back in a few hours. Alright, let's get it rehung so you can see the final reveal. I removed the painter's tape from the 2 latches. Let's change out the air filter. I pulled down the old one and double check the arrow indicating the airflow is pointing up and install the new one. Let's go get the filter grill. Here's a close-up of the hinge, which is basically just a hook. All it does is hook into a slot in the frame. Let me show you on the frame and right where this goes. So you just insert the left one here and the right one here. Watch me do it. Now sometimes this can be a little tricky. I place the hinges into the 2 slots and then I move the face toward me and the left one hooks and locks in. But as I move the face toward the wall, the right one pops out. So I reinsert it as I move the face toward me and the right one hooks and locks in. Here's a close-up of what it looks like when it's installed properly. And you can notice the Phillips mounting screws for the frame if you wanted to remove it for painting. All that's left is to close the grill face, and these latches can be a little tricky to close too, so make sure the face is centered and the latches go all the way up and lock in. I like to give it a final push test in the middle. So that's it guys, hopefully after watching this video it gave you some confidence to attempt this project. Let me remind you what it looked like before from below. Pretty dirty looking, and you saw this didn't come off with just regular whisk brush dusting. So if yours is starting to look like this, get DIYing. Not counting paint dry time, the project only took me less than an hour. Please remember to hit the thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe to watch more home DIY videos just like this one. Put any questions in the comments, and maybe I can help you with your project. Click on any of the links on the screen to check out my other home DIY videos. One, I show you how to install a swag ceiling hook for a heavy light fixture. The other, I show you how to fix a sticky garage door that jerks and shakes when it's opened. Thanks for watching. Keep on DIYing. Bye now.